Welcome to Girls Will Yap, a true crime and missing person podcast where we share stories with heart. You're tuning in to our true crime documentary review episode where we're sharing our personal opinions and reactions based on what we watched. All parties mentioned are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Thank you for joining us and don't forget to subscribe.
Harmony, we both watched the Idaho Murders, College Nightmare, and it's on Netflix. We watched episode 1. I'll do a small recap, but just jump in when you see fit. There's a lot of people involved in this tragedy, directly and indirectly. We're going to be focusing on the individuals living in the house. Harmony, how would you describe the girls living in the house?
They were just young girls living the college experience. They're having fun and being carefree. They're in sororities. They're going out to clubs, partying, drinking. Honestly, they were just doing all the things that I did when I was in college. In this first episode, I didn't hear that they were mean to anybody, so they seemed like good, genuine, nice girls. What did you think?
Thought so. Kind of silly. Wholesome Midwestern girls. On November 13th, 2022 at 11:56 a.m., there was a 911 call from the house. The call was to report a drunk girl who would not wake up. Once the cops got there, they determined it is a homicide, and they actually find 4 dead bodies. Harmony, I was a bit confused about that 911 call. Did the girls not know that the victim was dead? And I thought there was a lot of blood.
The dispatcher was pissing me off, and I realized that she was just doing her job, but also like her tone had no empathy in it. And she's like, stop passing the phone around. So I didn't like that. But also I was confused when they said there's a drunk girl that won't wake up, because both rooms, there was 2 and 2 people. What happened to the other person that was also in the room? The cops said it was lots of blood. I'm like, did they go and check on them in the complete dark? That confused me as well.
Well, I don't think they would have checked on them in the complete dark because they thought somebody was in the house. That completely confused me, and at first glance, it seems a little suspicious. The police worked to secure the scene immediately. They worked with the campus police and the college administration. It is questionable whether or not the college administration worked with them. What is your opinion on how the police handled the scene?
Anything wrong? They, got everybody outside and were like, hey, I need you to stand here. And they were going through and, doing a sweep of the house. So they definitely did better than the John Benet Ramsey cops did.
They did an excellent job. I mean, they went there just to help a drunk girl, and they end up with 4 dead bodies. And not only that, but it's on campus, surrounded by all these, what I'm assuming, frat houses and etc. They had to corral a bunch of cats, basically, and that was kind of crazy.
It's just every time you looked, somebody new was popping up to the scene, coming out of their house. So it was a lot for them to manage.
I thought they were very professional.
Yeah, they did well.
One of the girls in the house called Hunter, who was her boyfriend or somebody's boyfriend. I'm a little fuzzy on that. But she called because she was scared. He came to see if anybody was lurking in the house. He was quick to point out to the police that he had been holding a knife. Of course, that kind of makes him suspicious, but I personally never suspected him. Did you?
What was interesting to me is I've watched other docs about this story before, and I just don't remember them talking about him before. So it was interesting seeing him in the house. And, it seemed like he was very honest. They called me because they thought they saw somebody. I didn't know who was in here, so I did grab this knife to defend myself.
I think it would have been crazy to not grab something to, afflict pain on somebody if necessary.
Found a bat, a knife, something.
Exactly. So the police immediately called the state police. Did this surprise you?
I feel like it did.
How often do you actually hear that happening? Because usually there's a battle of the egos,
It's usually like, this is our territory. You get away.
Yes. But I was impressed. They put their egos aside and realized this is going to be a really tough case, especially given the location.
A quadruple homicide?
On campus.
Wow. Oof.
Yeah. There were 2 big pieces of evidence. First of all, there was a leather knife sheath that was found in the bed of one of the deceased girls. Secondly, there were footprints in the snow going out the back door. They were size 13 and a half. Harmony, I'm thinking that someone with such large feet should not be committing any crimes. What's your thought?
Well, first off, nobody should be committing any crimes.
True.
But I was also thinking, because the guy who did it is tall and lanky, so I would imagine he had big feet. So I guess that part didn't seem out of ordinary to me. Or if I had smaller feet, I would use big shoes to commit the crime to throw
Me
people
and you
off,
both.
you
Yes.
know?
But 13 and a half.
That's like Shaq size.
I know. Dylan, one of the girls who survived, saw the intruder before she ran into her room. She heard him tell one of the deceased girls, "You're going to be okay. I'm going to help you." Did this creep you out?
Girl, that gave me demonic spirits. I was so creeped out.
I'm going to help you, and then he kills her?
Yeah, that man's mental is not right. There's something wrong
Exactly.
there.
Yeah, this intrusion happened between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. The 911 call did not take place until 11:56 a.m. That confused me as well. What do you think happened that they waited?
But there's a couple things I was wondering because as the cops were kind of going through the house, you see alcohol everywhere. And I don't think everybody was 21. And so I'm like, a part of me was thinking maybe they thought if they called, they might get in trouble for all of that. Another part of me thought, well, she saw this guy. Maybe she didn't make the phone call because she was afraid if he heard her, he would come back and kill her. So those were like two of the thoughts I had, but also I wondered, like, did they have a window in their rooms that they possibly could have climbed out of and like ran and called the cops? I don't know. I had a whole bunch of things going on in my mind. What did you think?
Would you have climbed out a window not knowing because it's dark? Would you have climbed out a window not knowing? Or would you hide in your closet?
That's true.
I don't know the answer to that.
That's true. Especially in that situation, like your mind is probably everywhere. Adrenaline is high. Yeah, that's a good point.
She could have been just traumatized.
She was probably in shock.
Now, that could be it. That would actually explain everything.
Yeah.
I do want to point out, though, especially for our listeners, one of the girls was talking about her cell phone going dead. Your cell phone should never be dead. A single woman's cell phone should never be close to being dead. Keep that thing charged.
All the time. If I'm out and about, I have a portable charger that I take with me just in case because you never know.
Exactly. So the girls learned about the confirmed deaths of their friends by a campus-wide text message. Do you think this could have been handled better?
100% because even the police said that they were not notified that this text message was going out. Then I thought, okay, these girls just learned that their friends have died by homicide. And now they're reaching out to these friends' parents to let them know via Facebook, I'm so sorry for your loss. Like those type of notifications should come in person.
Well, I definitely agree. I don't think there was any malintent, and I understand that the administration was concerned about the safety of everybody, and they wanted everybody to shelter in place. It did lack sensitivity, but sometimes practicality comes first.
And that's fair.
Yeah, but it's still tough for those girls. Then the ex-boyfriend of one of the girls came to the house and asked the police questions. They placed him in a police car. I guess we'll learn more about him in the second episode. What do you think about the boyfriend who's in the police car?
When he's in the cop car, the cop said to him, like, we understand that your dog is upstairs. I like that he said, I'm not worried about my dog. Like, I'm worried about what is going on there. I felt like his heart was in the right place. And obviously, they have to talk to him. His sister revealed that Kaylee, one of the girls who was murdered, called him a bunch of times that night. He's an ex. Of course, they have to interview him and ask him a bunch of questions because usually crimes aren't done by complete strangers. They're done
Right.
by somebody you know.
Yes, and we talked earlier when we were talking about Lindsay Clancy case. Everybody needs to be treated as a suspect, including the significant others.
Especially the significant
Especially.
others. Like, and if you're the significant other and you didn't do anything, I understand how that makes you feel. But obviously, you should realize there are patterns when these crimes happen. And if they're a good police department, they should be asking you these tough questions.
That's right. Props to the police department. I cannot say enough good about them.
They did amazing.
Yes. And I don't think you'll hear us say that very often.
No, because most of the time it's like they're acting like the Boulder police and fire the whole staff.
What did you think about the parents?
I felt, and I think in this first episode they only showed two sets of the parents so far. They talked about another one, but I don't think they had interviewed them yet. But I felt so awful for them. They seemed so close to their children. Haley's mom said she felt in her gut that the girls were not okay. A mother's love knows no end. Then she starts getting these Facebook messages that people were sorry for her loss. And like in the doc, and this has been like 4 years removed, she's still tearing up. She remembered the weather that day. I think Zaina's dad remembered the weather that day. They will never forget every little detail about the worst day of their lives. My heart was honestly just broken for them. What did you think of them?
I just don't even know if I can say anything. It's just so heartbreaking to imagine. It's hard enough to let your kids go to school, and make that transition into adulthood. And then you do that, and this happens.
In
So,
a place that is supposed to be relatively safe. Like, that town does not see crimes of this nature happen.
yeah, because it seems so wholesome.
Uh-huh.
It really did seem like the epitome of a Midwestern town.
Is. Oh my gosh. I was like, this place looks really nice, minus what clearly happened.
Kind of Hallmarkish, really.
It was giving that.
Yeah. What did you think about this episode overall?
I'm interested as we keep going to hear more about the four victims. And I think this kind of set up their personalities a bit and is showing you some of the people that were affected. But like this core four of folks meant so much to so many. And I think this was a good introduction to who they are and just brief overview of what happened. I'm interested in seeing what else happens in the next two episodes. What do you
It
think?
it was definitely a brief overview, dipping your toe basically into this and getting to know the victims. And they did a good job in letting us get to know the victims.
They really did. This is one of the better documentaries that I've seen so far.
Okay, that's interesting that you say that. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead and say the last episode of it blows my mind, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that here in a few weeks.
Yes, we have thoughts.
I don't have anything else. Do you?
Just as always, want to put the four victims and their loved ones in our Hugs Corner and just sending so much love to their families as they've had to work through this tragedy the last 4 years.
I imagine that's an ongoing effort.
Yes, grief doesn't just end. It's one day you're fine and the next day you're broken into pieces.
That's true. Yes. All right. Bye, y'all. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Girls Will Yap. We love having you here to talk about true crime and missing persons. Follow us on all the socials at Girls Will Yap so you don't miss the conversations. As always, let's yap, y'all.